I don't want to talk about it. Since it's Monday, it's probably Miss Clerval. But since it's Miss Clerval, I might as well just say it's Casper the Friendly Ghost. What? Good for you, Joey? Don't worry about it, though. Casper isn't here. Going off of the expected pattern with Miss Clerval, nobody's gonna be here watching us. Okay, first off, I haven't exactly forgiven you for putting that Roadkill Pizza's bill on me. And second off, I doubt I'll be able to get away with something like that. Just knowing Miss Clerval, she's kind of notorious like that. Yeah, I guess, sure. I mean, unless you want to make a commentary on it. I mean, weren't you trying to make a commentary last time we talked? Real shit? Nice, can I see it? Lame. Well, we have nothing better to do. Save using our imagination. Hey, I'm not a delinquent, I'm just really lazy and lack motivation, and the school kind of blames everything on me. Wait, who the fuck are you? No, seriously, how long have you been in here with us? What? Sure. Let's go to the closet then. Come on, it's not like that! Hello everybody, Lunatic the Game here, and on today's commentary, we'll be covering Nintendo Meta Runner. Fairly recently, he made a commentary on 3 videos relating to general problems people have with the Nintendo Switch. The first of which being about the Nintendo Switch's eShop, the next 2, both videos by Arlo by the way, on Joy-Con Drift and Nintendo Online respectively. Essentially, Meta Runner, who I'll be referring to as Joshua because I'm too lazy to use the phrase Meta Runner every sentence, is out here making a video to more or less argue back against people's general complaints about the Nintendo Switch. Switch. That's why it's called drama that needs to be addressed, so not that drama, this drama. I know that sounds disappointing, but I doubt Miss Clerval is enough of a monster to force me to cover drama. Though she did throw me into a world crawling with shadow monsters and just assume I'd live. You know, with that in mind, I'm now concerned for my well-being. Who cares? Anyways, let's begin.
There's two ways you can navigate the Switch eShop. There's the website, which is my preferred method because it's just easier to navigate, and there's the app itself on the Switch, which is more convenient because it's on the damn device you're going to be playing the games on. Both are curated equally as poorly. Right when you open the app on the Switch, you're greeted with the featured section, which makes a lot of sense. This is where they're going to put their big budget stuff, AAA stuff, their most popular games, and their top new releases. This way, if a new game is out and most people are traveling to the eShop for that, they can see it front and center and not have to go searching for it. It totally makes sense. Animal Crossing is probably one of the top sellers right now. I'm sure it's all the way at the top for most people. I'll note that on my Switch app, Animal Crossing is buried at the bottom, and on the website, it's all the way at the top for me. Probably because it knows that I bought the game already. Next is our recent releases tab, which might be the go-to if something released that day and you can't find it on the feature tab. Also note that again, I think it knows what games I own because, for example, Good Job is nowhere to be found on the app, but it's on the website. Then there's great deals, bestsellers, coming soon, Nintendo Switch Online, and enter code. I don't actually use this enter code tab. Not many people know that there's actually a way to enter the code on the website. It's just buried really deep in that website. I don't actually know how to navigate to it from the homepage. I have it bookmarked somewhere, so I'll link it in the description below so you can save it yourself for easy access.
Almost a good start, but entering the code through your Nintendo Switch is a lot easier since it isn't buried. However, I will give you that by putting the link at the site in the description, which makes it easier to bookmark for people who want to put in the code outside the Switch. But that's the problem. People are possibly going to browse the Nintendo eShop on the Switch for the most part. So while you aren't wrong about this, there is a smarter way of doing it.
Joshua, I don't think you realize that this point is very much not well thought out. Like, yeah, you could say that using the eShop on the Switch is the smarter way to do things, but all Wolf then is doing is throwing this out there for those who might want to use it. There are still reasons somebody might want to use the browser version, like when you're already at your computer and don't want to go out and grab your Switch. Also, I'm a little bitch and I want to nitpick wording. You're not wrong about this, but how can he be wrong about sending a link in the description? I mean in the context of he's just throwing it out there for those who need it. If he threw out a wrong link, that'd be an entirely different story, but it just sounds weird and I was pondering that for a while. Also, Joshua, your audio is very muffled to all hell, like good god. It's especially bad because I think it helps your music audio overpower, or at least to stay on the same level as your vocals, which, you know, kinda makes you sound like you're talking to a goddamn pillow. Get out of bed, you fucking degenerate.
Unlike every other app store in existence, the eShop lacks a rating, review, or comment system. It's a very un-Nintendo thing to allow comments, and I understand why. They don't want to have an avenue for weirdos to talk to kids, or for people to just be generally inappropriate, and that's fine. But would a star rating really kill you? You can heart stuff, which adds it to your wish list. Maybe add up the people who favorited it? A weird little UI quirk is that you can't unwishlist it by clicking the heart again, so you're just kind of stuck with it. The lack of any sort of rating system means that there's no easy in-app way to tell if a game is any good besides just looking at it. Jumping Joe looks really enticing for 16 cents, but is it worth my time and my storage space? Well, I can tell you unequivocally that it is not. Oh, hey, those are the guys that made the coloring book app. I like that one. This whole lack of any rating system and the huge breadth of games available for this thing are the reasons why eShop sales videos and eShop top 10 videos and cheap eShop videos all do so well on YouTube, and rightfully so. Nintendo didn't have a good solution for finding new games on their platform, so us creators made our own way to find the good stuff. I highly encourage you to check videos like those out instead of browsing the eShop, because you'll often find more information and better games there. The eShop...
I feel like there is a better way of knowing what to buy. Images, while aren't too effective, can help as well as clips and demos. But clips and demos are more effective.
Okay, let me take this bit by bit for a brief minute. Not every game on the eShop has a demo, so while that does work in some cases, it doesn't apply for the majority of games because the majority of games on the eShop don't even have demos. On the other hand, images, in your own words, are not that effective. They can help for sure, but they aren't always the greatest indicator of how the game works since they're just still images. In certain scenarios, I'm sure they can give off the wrong idea of whether or not the game is good. Videos are the same since they can be tampered with to make something look better than it seems. Tell me, Joshua, does this ring a bell? Wake the fuck up, Nintendo fan. We have a city to burn. Of course, that's not the case for all, but often you can be left in the dark about the true quality of the product. I mean, the City Skyline Switch trailer made me think I'd actually be able to play it. They can't all be winners. Though it's actually not a bad game, I just hate the controls on Switch. At the end of the day, I believe Wolf Den's suggestion is better because these videos help because a lot of these videos do go into detail about the quality and how the games work in case you're interested in giving them a look. I'm not saying images and videos aren't a good indicator, but they aren't better by all means. Anyways, after this, Joshua moves into another video. This video is Arlo's video about the problems with the Nintendo Switch's hardware, particularly the issue of Joy-Con drift. If you want to know if it gets any better, no. It doesn't. Anywho,
Although me can tell you the specifics, Spawnwave has a lot of great videos on the subject, but the gist of it is that due to some design flaw, a component of the Joy-Con control stick wears down much more quickly than it should, which messes with the sensor and causes the aforementioned wonkiness. Sometimes the stick will drift in a weird direction even when you're not touching it, sometimes it will prevent you from pushing in a certain direction, sometimes there will be big dead areas your Joy-Con just refuses to acknowledge, and in my experience, all these things can just sort of happen willy-nilly whenever they want to. Recalibrating the stick does nothing, as anyone who's experienced the issue can tell you. It's an internal hardware problem. It would be one thing if this were a rarity, something that happens to only a small percentage of owners, but the way I see it, it's starting to feel like an inevitability. I don't think I've spoken to even a single person face-to-face who hasn't had this happen to one or more of their Joy-Cons if they regularly use them. Most of them have gone through multiple sets. First-hand accounts can only get you so far though, so recently I did a series of polls about the issue on Twitter, and while of course these are not comprehensive, they paint a pretty dreary picture. Surprisingly enough, out of over 11,000 people, 39% claim that they've never had any problems, and 29% said they'd experienced a little drift, but not enough for it to affect the gameplay too much. I do have to wonder if it will eventually grow into a bigger problem for that latter group, but even if it doesn't, even if as many as 68% of Switch owners will never experience a big problem with drift, that still leaves 21% of people who have had to replace one or two Joy-Cons, and 11% for whom this has been a constant problem. 32% of Switch owners have experienced complete loss of Joy-Con functionality, and in many cases several times. Those percentages are super bad. That is a gigantic failure rate. Furthermore, of that 32%, a whopping 72% were completely unable to get any of them replaced for free within the warranty period, but 7% able to get some of them replaced but not all of them. Then just for a little more clarity, I asked the people who have not experienced drift how frequently they play in handheld mode. Once again, I was surprised to see how many of them do indeed play in handheld mode a fair amount. It's possible that many of those people just haven't had their Switches long enough, or it's possible that some Joy-Cons miraculously just don't have the issue. Maybe these people are unconsciously gentler on their controllers, maybe a combination of things. But despite there being a few more lucky folks than I initially expected, amongst my Twitter followers at least, the overall numbers are still pretty grateful. 32% failure is still really, really bad. And myself, my original left one started to go first, and I just barely got covered by the 1-year warranty before it expired. But what happened literally 1 week after it did expire? My right one started to go out. Right after I just got my left one back in the mail. So that one sat in a drawer for a year while I borrowed a spare from a friend. And guess what? That one started to go out too. And guess even wilder. Then the left one that was replaced started going out. That's 2 sets of Joy-Cons in as many years. Solutions to this problem? Not a lot of great ones, I'll tell you that much. If your Joy-Con is still under warranty and replaced, it's actually a pretty smooth process. Nintendo doesn't tend to charge for anything. They just send you a packing slip, you throw everything in a box, and they ship a refurbished or brand new Joy-Con to you pretty quick. It's still very inconvenient, especially for those who don't have Pro controllers to use while their Joy-Cons are away. And of course, up until now, if your warranty had lapsed, you were simply out of luck. Nintendo would still fix or replace them for you, but they would charge you so much that it was barely even worth doing. Apart from that, you can buy a replacement control stick for a relatively low price. Though honestly, the idea of taking apart a Joy-Con and doing tiny surgery on its tiny components seems like the perfect recipe for an even more messed up Joy-Con. Now with a bunch of blue hairlines inside it, not to mention all the wasted time being trying to do it. So also not great though, it's the best option so far for those who don't mind doing those kinds of tiny repairs. Then I've heard that if you lift up the little flap on the control stick and blast it with thin air, it helps a lot. The problem is that in most cases that I've heard of, it doesn't last for too long before falling out again, so you gotta keep doing it, I assume indefinitely. Also not a particularly ideal solution. And the problem is that even if you can find a relatively cheap solution like replacing the stick, I think it's reasonable to say that you really shouldn't have to. Not everyone has the skill or knowledge to do such a thing. It's still a time and money cost that we shouldn't have to pay. This is absolutely not a problem that we, the customers, should have to shoulder the burden of. Well, it seems a lot of people agree with me because this issue has only grown bigger and bigger as more and more people have bought Switches as...
Stop. I think I heard enough. All this is nothing more than the consumer not putting the effort of making sure it lasts. Here's an idea. Eject all the Joy-Con stick. I'm not mad at Olive for this. Every time I hear this, they sound like overgrown children who can't take responsibility of their actions. Or admit there's not much fixing.
Well, you heard it here, kiddos. Joy-Con drift, what is very well known to be an issue caused by issues with the internal hardware of the controllers and not external damage, is somehow our fault. But with that being said, Joshua, please stop pitting the blame on the people when the issue isn't even their fault. Any research reveals the problem to be stuff like faulty hardware, and while dirt and other stuff may be a small part of the issue, stuff like that should never be a thing that absolutely breaks your $60 controllers. Just ask my decade-old Wii remotes, or all of my other controllers that I haven't slammed against walls and broken it while playing Smash Ultimate, but that's a completely different story right there that I don't even want to go into. Also, good lord, while you may have been a little hard to hear before, I can't even make out what you're saying in this interjection without having to rely on some uncharacteristically accurate closed captions. I don't know what that's about. It's never been this accurate before. No idea what that's about, but seriously, please audio balance better. I cannot understand how you looked at this and thought this was passable. When I watch a video, I want to be able to understand it to the very least. It's like number 1 on the 10 Commandments of Commentaries, though number 2 does say worship Kanzaki from Index, calling into question the accuracy of it while also giving me a good idea who wrote this. Let me scratch this out, and there. Worship Yumiko Jabami, our gambling goddess, and maybe Kanzaki if you're bored like I was at one time. I don't know if it's a good idea to follow the commandments religiously, but I accept these wholeheartedly. Also at a point, the captions read, "They sound like overcooked children," which if you ask me is very, very sus.
My 2 default Joy-Cons got damaged because I haven't properly removed the strap. And you know what? That's on me, not the company.
Okay, in all honesty, I'm having a really hard time figuring out what you're saying in this particular argument and what this is supposed to be about, but I assume it's about how it's possible for Joy-Con straps to get stuck on Joy-Cons if put on backwards and result in potentially damaged Joy-Cons. That almost happened to me the day I got mine, for an example. But, see, now that I can understand that being your fault, even if Nintendo did do an extremely shitty job letting consumers know not to put their straps on backwards. But, I mean, I don't think this example works nearly as well because there are ways to avert this problem, like, well, not putting the Switch strap on backwards. With Joy-Con drift, it's really just up to luck. The Nintendo gods have to decide whether or not you're worthy of having a good Joy-Con, and that's the reason it's so different from your strap being on backwards story. Thus, this example doesn't really work nearly as well as you assume.
You could make the argument that everything is Nintendo's fault, but Arlo just admitted that people who had them longer are being careful.
No, I'm pretty sure he argued that people that had them longer may be unconsciously gentler on their controllers, not that they are, in fact, gentler. This is a simple case of you not really listening all the way here, just so you know, Joshua.
Where was I? Oh yeah. Take care of your product properly and it won't happen to you. At least the tale is trying to help out the consumer.
Really? Because this is news to me. I mean, yeah, they have been handing out free replacements, but as Arlo goes over in the very next part you cover, Nintendo hasn't been handling this that well. For an example, I'm not sure if a lot of these issues apply today, but when Arlo's video came out, the free replacement Joy-Con was something exclusive to the United States and Latin America. Nintendo themselves weren't very public about it, and thus a lot of people who don't follow Nintendo news, like adults who have better things to do in their lives and maybe own a Switch just for their kids, probably don't even know. And in general, there's also the fact that Nintendo only started doing anything when it became possible that they'd get sued for it.
For one, so far this seems to only apply to residents of the US and Latin America. It's very possible that this was simply a decision on the part of those respective divisions of Nintendo, and if that's the case, it's absolutely ludicrous. This should be a company-wide decision. If it's decided that people should be compensated for their faulty Joy-Cons, everyone should be compensated. I mean, that goes without saying. Then, here's a big one. I take particular issue with this whole thing because Nintendo only decided to do something when the word lawsuit was mentioned. There's no doubt they've been aware that this is a serious problem for the last 2 years, and they waited until it was just on the verge of becoming a complete PR disaster before they said or did anything.
Because it is. Instead of arguing care, let me play devil's advocate. How much money outside the two countries are making just so they can sue them? I would say not very much because they just got launched worldwide and they are just trying to get the leg on.
Wait, what? Most places where the Switch got launched got them way back in 2017, with a few exceptions, notably China in 2019. Are you talking about the newer model or something? Because if so, then I really can't tell. In general, I simply cannot tell what you're trying to say in this interjection though, so yeah.
The two countries are making enough money so that they can sue them. Nintendo isn't the richest company, but they are rich enough to not get sued by anywhere else. The only way you can sue someone is if you have more money than them.
No, you don't need to be richer than somebody to sue them. That would make the entire suing process kind of worthless for quite a lot of the population if that was the case. You just need to have the money for a lawyer to be able to pay for the filing fees and the service costs. Yeah, that shit tends to be expensive, but you don't have to be richer than the company. Alright, after this, Joshua moves on to the last video they plan on covering, Arlo's video about Nintendo Switch Online.
Not to mention, certain games don't rely on Nintendo Switch Online for online play.
Okay, but how does that change the problem with the large number of games that do?
Also, Nintendo made this clear that they support friends and families playing together.
Okay, and how does that change the fact that Nintendo's online service is still garbage? Like, Nintendo is still pushing their online services after all. Like, they're at the forefront of many of their top games right now, such as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Splatoon 2. And they're also making us pay for it. We should at least expect them to try harder to make the service good. We can't just say, well, they're trying to focus on multiplayer through other means, while Nintendo is doing all of this.
Besides, even if you want to keep saying Nintendo needs to improve the online service, why not just get a better Wi-Fi router or use Ethernet?
Because of how most Nintendo online games utilize peer-to-peer connection, even if you get better Wi-Fi, it won't mean the same for everyone else, because your game running well depends on who you're playing with. It also doesn't help that even with that in mind, Nintendo's servers and netcode are really bad in general. Thanks to some outside sources here, some articles on examples of the problems with Nintendo's online shit, but my point is that I really want you to stop trying to pass the blame onto the players. It's actually really irritating.
I know it boggles down to buy other things, but funny thing is that everything needs investment on money. Time is also a factor here.
How is time a factor in this? We never actually find out. Neato. Also, the fact that everything requires an investment on money doesn't change my point. That's a dumb excuse. Anyways, this is where I'm going to stop. He makes one more point after this that I really don't have anything to say about, so I'm moving straight on to the final thoughts. So, Joshua, I don't know if this is a recent thing or not, but you really feel the need to try and rationalize every flaw with Nintendo right now, do you? I had the same mentality when I was a kid way back during the Wii U days, and guess where that got me?
2 minutes, 3 seconds, and 47 milliseconds.
Now, I'm not going to try and go all like, I grew out of that. It was a childish mentality, like I did in my co-op with Mr. A. Which, by the way, I also made a joke about having a Mega Man hentai doujin addiction, and I was 15 when we made that video. I didn't even know what 90% of the tags on Don Brewer meant until this year. That video has as much legitimacy as the Nico Neo Alt CC. However, I will say that you really need to be more open-minded with criticism directed towards Nintendo, and honestly, now that I think about it, you need to be more open-minded towards criticism in general. I'm not going to try and dwell on your most recent, well, transgressions coming from your direction, but I feel you act super duper unnecessarily stubborn about everything you say and do, unwilling to take people's word in things. I'm led to believe that you can do better than this, dude, but I won't be like Doodle 5 years ago and hold your hands through this. That's my 2 cents, by the way, though I'm keeping them. I need money, especially for what Joey pulled on me. Anyways, I'm done here. Good luck with whatever you do next. Alright, it's a wrap. Did the last bell ring for the day by chance? I wasn't paying attention. Alright, 10 points for good timing then. Yeah, and... Hey, Joey? Is this notebook yours? No, look, somebody's name is on it. Do you think that was the girl that was in here with us? Well, it wasn't, but if she's going to leave her notebook here for us to find, she might as well have made it our business. Ugh, whatever. I'm going to go find her so I can give it back. I'll meet you back here after I'm done, alright? Sorry, I went to go give this back to you and then I stopped to read it and... What's that supposed to mean? By the way, your art, it's really good. I just wanted to let you know that, because it's great is all. Theater? No, I just didn't realize the school had a theater. Wasn't Boone a guy, though? Never mind. That's neat, I guess, but you don't have to yell about it, I get your point. Theater seems neat, but as you said, you don't have time for me, and to be honest, vice versa. Sayonara. Sure, why not, I guess. Wait, I made plans today. I have to meet back with Joey. I have to go back right now. He promised to show me something. I told you we weren't doing anything like that. Look, I can introduce myself tomorrow. I'm going to be way too busy today. I have to talk with a teacher, get groceries because my annoying ass housemate isn't home for some reason. I'm really busy, you know. I'm not a... Alright, I'll catch you later. Nina, huh? Well, time to get back to Joey.